having and wearing a belt is kind of cool, right? Do you have it with you? Oh, I love it. You're the
so
first.
cool.
You're the first person to be on an interview to actually bring the belt.
So my spare room that we're in is kind of like my office, and I do all my work here and my homework and stuff. And I have a replica made, so it usually sits right next to the replica, and then it gets packed when we leave for tapings. But I put it next to me just in case someone asked. I do have it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Not About Wrestling. I'm your host, Chris Illuminati, and today I'm starting things off differently. Normally, I do the canned intro where it's me talking about the wrestler that I'm going to talk to that day, and I type up this nice little thing and I start talking about them, and it always sounds so canned and ridiculous to me. I'm sure maybe other people like it. So today I decided to bring on a friend of mine. This is Stephanie Bowen. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, I love your intros before. So I don't know why you needed to pull me on, but it's fine.
You got to experiment.
Yeah, I mean, you got to switch things up.
Also, there's another reason I had you on, and we talked about it, but we can talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But okay. I wanted to kind of change it up, and I was like, well, let me just talk to another wrestling fan for a couple minutes and kind of like pick their wrestling brain. But, normally I pick a wrestler's brain. Now I'm going to pick a fan's brain.
Yeah, just a fan.
Are you just one fan?
Yeah, just me, singular.
A fan with I don't know if it's a framed Colt Cabana picture behind her.
Okay, yeah, it's not framed. It is signed. Like the funny thing about that is, over the holidays, I bought a bunch of shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. And I got it, and it said on the package, like, do not bend. I was like, I didn't order anything that would require that notification on, or that sticker on a box. So I open it up, and it's just like a random signed photo of Colt Cabana included in my order.
That's amazing.
So shout out to Pro Wrestling Tees or Colt just shoving his signature and photo in every single package.
I absolutely feel like Colt just shoved his picture. Like he's at there.
I felt it was appropriate to throw back there with my stuff.
What's your most prized wrestling possession?
So, I mean, I don't have a lot of possessions.
Okay.
Per se. I mean, you can literally everything back there is all I have.
That's
so I got
all
my
everything you own is behind you.
That's everything. 3 books that have been purchased in the past month. One to your recommendation, the Too Sweet. I got, and then of course the Young Bucks, Killing Business. And then the other one, hold on, let me grab it. If I don't knock everything else down.
Yeah, please don't.
Is the comic book story of professional wrestling.
Is that the Aubrey Sitterson one?
Yes.
Yes, I know Aubrey too.
Yes. So this, my friend got it for Christmas and told me that I absolutely needed to read it. We've talked before, you and I, this kind of probably leads to something else you're going to ask.
Yeah, well, I want to know how many other female friends do you have are wrestling fans?
0.
Okay.
No,
okay.
that's not true. Okay. So 1, technically, because she's the one, just one singular. She's the one who got me into wrestling, actually.
Okay. And so how did she do that? What was the gateway drug?
Her boyfriend was having a party for the Royal Rumble I just looked up to see what date this was. 2012.
Okay.
So I went over not knowing what to expect. I mean, I knew what WWE was and everything, but I never watched it. It wasn't something that I grew up with. So I went over there. It's like a bunch of the guys all stoked, sitting on the couch. And then we're watching, and to see them like pop for surprise entrance or like just screaming at the top of their lungs. Like the energy just sold me. So I'm like, okay, I'm committed to this now. So from there, just a weekly watcher now.
And now you're
Yeah.
you went from a person who just randomly went to a party to watch a Royal Rumble to a person who now has to worry about NFL playoff game and a pay-per-view at the same time. And you said you were going to just watch it on your phone
Yeah.
while you watch the game. You become that
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. The Steelers ruin everything. I'm a Ravens fan. So
Mhm.
our game happened to fall Saturday night at the exact same time as Hard to Kill,
Mhm.
which I have been looking forward to. Was going to have friends over for it. Now we're all doing separate things for Ravens games. And I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be that person at my sister's house on the couch with Hard to Kill on my phone while watching the game at the same time.
Uh, well, you have two options. You could either watch the pay-per-view, or you can scroll through Twitter and see what's going on at the pay-per-view, which might be worse.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I would rather see it. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get through this. If I don't watch Hard to Kill live, I would watch it immediately afterwards, but I would have to avoid all spoilers on Twitter. And
Do
I'm a
you find
live
that
tweeter during
impossible?
football games.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Even if you
So, but
try.
no. So it's funny you say that though, because one of my good friends is on 98 Rock, our morning show here in Baltimore. And he has to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the station to do the morning show. So he's a huge wrestling fan too. I've gone to a bunch of shows with him and we text every week about wrestling. So he somehow avoids any spoiler because he doesn't watch Dynamite at night. He goes to bed at like 7, 8 o'clock. So he's in bed before anything,
Mm.
but he has every possible word muted on Twitter so that he gets no spoilers. He knows nothing.
How long does that take?
I don't know. I'm sure it's built up over a certain period of time, but I mean, just to hop on Twitter and mute
Th-
stuff.
There's a lot of work into that because, okay, you have to constantly update it because let's say you don't update it and then 2 weeks ago you don't mute Snoop Dogg.
Yes, exactly.
And then Snoop Dogg doing a horrific splash off the top rope.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was fantastic.
Have you seen that he's now been made into a meme where he's jumping off things?
Yes.
Like he jumped off the
Amazing.
Hell in the Cell.
The internet always wins.
Yes, it does. It does. You know what I thought was going to be a bigger meme too? It was for like a day, and I haven't seen it pop up since. When Brandy threw the water on Shaq, and he just had that wet look, and he just like looked at the camera, and his face was like dripping with water.
Yes.
Like I thought that was going to get memed more than it did, but it didn't.
I think it may be one of those ones that makes a return later on. It's like a GIF
Yeah,
later down the road where people don't know what it's from.
Exactly, and I feel like it's going to be more of a meme, like basketball season because it's Shaq. Like it won't be used as a wrestling meme; it'll be used as a basketball meme.
Yes.
With Shaq, like,
Yeah, exactly. People that are using it will have no idea where it came from. They're not going to look for the origin and know that it came from a wrestling show on TV. Like,
I feel like people can't recognize 90% of where like GIFs and memes come from.
That's true.
They know what the meme means. Yeah, they know what the meme means, but they don't know where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true.
Which one do you use the most that you have no idea where it comes from?
I don't know. There's one that I use all the time, but I know it's from like a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
The little girl that lays down in the sand. It just says, "I take nap right here."
Oh,
that's just like me for my entire life. So
the one I use,
I use ones from. I use Michelle Tanner a lot too.
But we know where that's from.
Exactly. So I don't think there's a lot that I use that I don't know where it's from.
The one that I use a lot that I have no idea is the guy pointing to his head.
Oh, that's true. I don't know where that's from either.
No idea where that's from.
That's going to bug me. I'm going to look it up.
I also don't know what Denzel Washington movie it's from when he goes.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I'm terrible with movies. So,
Yeah.
so movies are probably ones that I'm using that I just don't have any idea.
Yeah. Those I don't know, but that's okay. I mean, we can't know everything.
Yeah. No.
Here's what I do know. So the reason that you're on today is not just to talk wrestling, but it's because I got to introduce. Yeah, I got to interview Deonna Purrazzo from Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, she only had like 20 minutes. So I only
Yeah.
got to do a 20-minute interview.
Well, that's what happens when you're on a pay-per-view and have limited press time. She's all over the place. I've seen her just on interview after interview.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know I'm the most important. So I thought
I
maybe I
know.
would get 21 minutes, maybe.
I know. You didn't have me there to push for you.
That's what I'm
So,
thinking. But I
yeah.
have you here now, and now is where I'm going to talk to you about the interview before we go on, because I was like, who's going to listen to a 20-minute podcast? But I thought if you and I kind of talked for a little bit, because I wasn't going to read a 20-minute long intro.
No?
God knows that's no. No one wants that.
Move?
No one wants that. No.
I would listen to that. But
you know who wants that? My cat, because he's the only person here.
Oh, yeah.
And he likes to hear me talk.
Yeah.
Especially
Your kids would be like, Dad, stop.
Oh, please. I couldn't do it around my kids.
No,
oh, God.
absolutely not.
Who are you talking to? Why are you talking at a screen? Why do you have your headphones on? Who's Danhausen? Actually, they know who Danhausen is.
I love Danhausen.
Yeah,
so
I do too. And so do they. And every time I have an interview now, my daughter goes, "Are you talking to Danhausen?" And I'm like, you can only interview a person once every while in a while. She doesn't really know what interview means.
Yeah.
7.
She's just like, he's your co-host, right?
Yeah, she thinks we're on like a talk show, and every week I just talk to Danhausen.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
That would be amazing.
But, well,
yeah.
we'll put it out there. I like you so far as a co-host.
Okay, cool.
Danhausen's
I'm
good,
here.
But,
thanks.
So Deanna and I talk about a bunch of things in the 20 minutes, but one of the things we talk about a lot, because I'm kind of a geek for it and I mention it, is I love wrestling belts.
Mm-hmm.
And this comes from like childhood loving wrestling belts, because unlike you and your spoiled generation that has everything.
You sound like such an old man right now.
I'm super old, and I'm going to tell you that we had nothing. We had nothing. We had Hogan foam fingers, and we had terrible shirts, and maybe a program or two, and the dumb weightlifting Hulkamania set, and that was it. That's all we had. And you guys have belts and figures and everything. Anyway, my little rant here is that I didn't have belts as a kid, so I would have to make my own belts.
You made your own belts?
Yes, and here's how I did it. I realized I was not good at wood or anything like that. So I was a pretty good drawer. So I would buy those giant poster boards from like, Kmart or whatever, the giant white poster boards.
The like foam ones?
No, like poster boards.
Or
like
just
if you
the
had
regular?
like you got a school project.
Yeah, but sometimes you had the ones that were like thicker that you could do.
They didn't let me have X-Acto knives.
No, I mean
that.
That would have been okay. I'm gonna listen. Go.
They didn't let me have butter knives. Why would they let me have an X-Acto knife?
Someone could have cut it out for you, and then you could have just.
I was home.
You could have like drawn the design. You're gonna have one. I want one next week. I want you
to draw a belt.
To show up with one.
I will absolutely, and I will tell you my 3 favorites. I was like 3 favorites to draw. But I'll tell you how I used to do this.
Okay. Yes.
Here's what I would do. So I would take and I would find pictures of the belt, and then I would draw the belt to scale to fit my body, and then I would color it all in markers. I would do marker, crayon, and sometimes colored pencil, like if I was getting frisky.
Oh, yeah. Fancy.
So I'd go crazy. And then I would cut it out. So it was not just the face of the belt, but also the side. And then I would make it big enough so it looked like the side of the belt. So I would take that and I'd make it long enough so that it almost fit around my waist. And then I would cut that out, flip it over. I would take my actual belts, like that I would put in pants, and I'd put them on the other side of the belts. And then I would tape that to the back of, do you see why you're spoiled? Like, you guys just bought belts and I'm sitting here Etsying a belt together. So I would take the belt and I would tape it to the other side. And then it was like an actual belt. Like you could strap it on behind you and it would stay on. Except I always went with over the shoulder, slung it over the shoulder, did interviews in the mirror, holding the belt.
So what was the point of attaching it to your actual belt if you just never wore it?
Well, that was when I was walking to the ring. I had it around me. But when I'm
Okay.
doing interviews,
Naturally.
I'm standing in the mirror holding the belt.
Yeah, of course.
So top 3 favorite belts of all time to draw. Number 3, I'll go bottom up.
Okay.
Drum roll. You want to drum roll it?
Drum roll, yeah.
All right. Well, let's wait till we get to 1. Let's not go crazy yet.
Oh, okay, yeah. No.
3, the WCW television title,
Okay.
the red and silver one.
See, this is where you kind of
old.
lose me a little bit.
Yeah.
No, only because I am such a new fan that I'm still learning past history. I'm gonna have you educate me in the future on what matches I need to watch, but I may pull these up on the computer as you say them.
Well, I'm gonna magically put it into our video as we're talking.
Okay, there you go. So it's right. It's right where
we just it's right as we were talking. It was showing, and yes. So that's the television title.
Okay.
My second favorite is the United States Heavyweight Championship, which was also WCW, NWA, whatever you want to call it. And my all-time favorite, which looks not similar now, but the past couple of years it did look the same, the old WWF, WWE Intercontinental title. The one made famous by like Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, that type of Intercontinental belt, which they brought back for a little bit. Like I think Daniel Bryan had it for a while, and a lot of guys had it, and then until they recently replaced it with the one that like Big E has now, and Sammy and those.
Yeah.
So I will put magically in the magic of video. I will magically impose the pictures. So I talked to Deonna because she is right now the Impact champion, and I asked her if she ever like forgot the belt, and so we're talking, and I've interviewed other people before who are champions, and I've always been like, do you have the belt? And they're like, no, you fanboy. But she was like, yeah, and like dipped underneath her desk and pulls out the belt. And I was like, wow, that was awesome. And she's like, yeah, I have it for interviews. And I'm like, perfect. And then she tells me that she has, I don't want to talk about the whole interview before we get to it, but she has like a replica made. But one of her biggest fears is forgetting the belt.
Is pulling a Jericho?
Yes. Well, not losing it in like a Texas Longhorn Steakhouse, which now that we know the recent Jericho, like that's such a Jericho place to eat. Like,
wasn't
it like a Texas Longhorn or something?
I don't know.
It was a steakhouse
somewhere.
It was a chain steakhouse, I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but no. So she's afraid. So she even had a replica made.
That makes sense. I wouldn't trust myself to carry around the real one. No.
Yeah. So, but I fanboyed out on belts, and I, wanted to get your opinion how you feel about belts.
Did you tell her that you used to make belts though?
I'm pretty sure I did.
That's
sure.
amazing.
I didn't go as like deep into it as I did with you. Like,
but when she watches this interview, she's gonna find out, and then she's gonna be like,
I'm
it's gonna
honored.
Be amazing.
I'm honored you think she'd watch this interview. Also, I only had like 18 to 20 minutes. I wasn't going to like dazzle her for 15 minutes with my recreation of how I did belts when I was 10.
Yeah. I wouldn't waste that time.
That would be, then the show would really not be about wrestling. It would be about my skills as a child making
art
belts.
Skills. Yes. One, I do need you to find a photo somewhere of that.
Of me holding the belts?
Yeah. Do you have photos of your... Did they have film back then?
Yeah, a dinosaur came and etched it on a stone. If anyone would have those photos, it was always at my grandmother's house. My aunt and grandmother lived on. I said aunt / grandmother like that's the same person. My aunt and grandmother lived together.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I meant was like my aunt would probably have something like that if that picture does exist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it does because I feel like I would have seen it by now.
You would think.
See, it's much different. Like back that you just didn't snap pictures. Like we didn't have phones in our pockets. So like you'd have to like
chink.
make the thumb, clicking noise with we didn't like, and I didn't sit there in my aunt's room in the middle of summer, like taking selfies of myself. I don't think the belt exists. I will draw a new belt. I'll draw a new belt.
Yeah, I really want you to draw a new one. So sorry to go back to what you were asking. about belts? I don't even know what you asked again.
Well, you wanted me to make a list of the belts or the matches?
Oh, no, not that. I'm talking about what you just asked me after you were talking about the Deonna's belt.
Oh, I was asking you what your favorite belts were.
What mine are. Of all of them, I have to lean towards the IWGP belts.
Okay.
Because of the history with them. Because on the sides, they have all of the champions etched on them. So it really feels like it means something. Like you are carrying a belt that has the names of every other champion on it. So
Like
it's
the
like
Stanley Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So it just seems like it actually means something compared to some of the other ones, like a WWE one that is just a big marketing tool for them to sell to children. Because you felt with those, like, I mean, you're looking at the WWE one, it's their logo. Like it's just taking up the entire thing. Champion is like so tiny.
Yeah.
So
well, that's why I think belts don't really mean that much anymore. Having the belt.
Yeah, in a way, but I mean, they still they still serve a purpose to
Do they?
The belt. Are we talking the belt itself? I mean, it.
Here's what ruins it for me, and I think ruins it for them, and they'll never change this. How can there? And I'm just talking WWE right here.
Right.
How can there be two champions?
Yeah,
How's there two world champions? One universal champion, one champ. No.
Yeah, that one I've never understood. Like if you're
one.
talking different classes, like in other ones where you're talking heavyweight and junior or whatever, like the IWGP, it makes sense.
Yes.
But yeah, that I don't.
Imagine in the NFL, if like, let's just say it was last year and the Chiefs were like, we're the Super Bowl champions. And then another team was like, we're the Super Bowl champions.
Super duper.
You know, it's like,
well, we didn't win this game, but we won that.
We won the play. Like, what if the Super Bowl runner-up started being a thing? Like the runner-up is just as big as, no, you lost.
Yeah, it's as if you would just like kind of stop at the AFC and NFC championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like not go further than that. You're like, nah, you guys are both great.
Yeah. But those teams play each other once a year at a pay-per-view, but belts don't change hands or anything. They just wrestle each other for bragging rights for a day.
Just for funsies. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I see that.
Yeah. So I talked to Deonna about the belt and a bunch of other stuff. And it's a fun little interview, short little interview. And I hope everyone likes it as much as our belt talk here. I had fun. Will you come on again?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have me.
Yeah,
you haven't scared me away yet.
You know what I feel like we should do? Maybe let's do like every once in a while thing like I make you watch a match.
Yes, please.
And we talk about it.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I really do. And that's actually why I got this comic book story professional wrestling book. So I can really learn about stuff and know what are big important matches that I just need to know as a fan.
Sometimes I won't even show you big important matches. Sometimes I'll just say, this was fun. Watch this.
Okay, that too.
Like,
but I obviously need like the major ones, like that people talk about all the time that I probably still haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so wrapped up in everything now.
Okay. Well, I'll give you homework. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. I'll make time for it.
So here's my talk with Deonna. What's up, everybody? We're back, and with us is the Knockouts champion. You know, Deonna, when you add the Virtuosa to your name, I mean, I'm Italian. I can barely say it. How do you get it all out in one mouthful?
Well, it's my ever-growing resume. You just have to nail it every time. It's hard. The two-time Knockouts champion, the first ever Iron Woman of Impact Wrestling, Knockout of the Year, Wrestler of the Year, the Virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo.
Now, you sound like you practiced that. Did you
No,
practice that?
on the fly.
On the fly? Okay. So I've talked to a bunch of other people and they always say no matter what anybody tells you about promos or anything they say, there's never anything just off the cuff. Like they've thought of stuff in their head probably for hours. Is that true?
Yeah, I feel like I definitely have like bullet points when I'm, going to the ring to do like a live thing or, talking to you now. Like I know what my resume is at, so it's kind of like if I'm being authentic to who I am, I can kind of just pick and choose off the top of my head what I think works and not, because at the end of the day, the Virtuosa is just an extension of who Deonna Purrazzo really is.
Got you. Have you ever just drawn a blank?
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny. So obviously we're doing these closed set studio tapings, and I just did that in the ring with Taya Valkyrie, and my first bit was just me and Kim in the ring, and I completely just like spaced and I started singing, and everyone in production was just laughing, made fun of me all weekend. But it's your ability to make a mistake and then get right back on the ball 2 seconds later. So I'm never going to say I don't make mistakes, because we all do, and I'm a human, but to be able to bounce back is what makes a champion.
That's very true. Now, I'm wearing this hat especially for you. I don't know if you can see it.
I can.
because we're both from the Garden State of New Jersey. This is what one question I had written down for you, because it just kind of dawned on me maybe a couple weeks ago. People from New Jersey can bash the state all they want, but if someone from outside does, like, I get mad. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I feel like I've just accepted the fact that we're like the most hated state in the country, and I thrive off of it. I love it, because that is just kind of who we are as New Jerseyans. We hate everyone else too, so they might as well hate us equally.
So we're like the heel state.
I think so, yeah.
But everybody loves us in the summertime.
Right. Yeah, and everyone loves our food, and you know what? We do bring a lot to the table as a state, but we have a bad rap, and I'm totally fine with that.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get this one? You don't really have a New Jersey accent. Why not?
Yes, because I don't think that I do, unless I get like mad and then I start yelling and cursing and whatever, and it comes out. But I do get that a lot, and it's just kind of like, okay. And do you want my Jersey attitude? Because I can give you that.
Well, there is a Jersey attitude, but here's my feeling on the Jersey accent thing. So I think a lot of people mistake it for, depending where you're at in New Jersey. If you're Northern Jersey, it's actually like a New York kind of accent. And if you're South Jersey, it's actually kind of a Philly thing. So it's not really quite our accent. It's us. It's people who've infiltrated from other states kind of that make us talk like that.
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting is I have a nephew who is in the New Jersey school system, and they're actually teaching the proper way to speak. So instead of being like talk and walk and water and whatever, like they're trying to take that out of the way the next generation speaks. So it's interesting.
Did anybody in the locker room ever give you like crap for saying water or?
Always.
Really?
Always. Coffee and water, and yeah.
Is that the one that always gets people? That seems like the one that always gets people.
Yeah, I think those like coffee and water are like the biggest things. But then like I say like mozzarella or prosciutto or like the Italian foods, I say the way that like my grandma pronounced them and the way that I was taught growing up. But I get a lot of crap for that from my friends, because everyone else calls it mozzarella and calamari, and I have to like double take and stop and be like, oh, I'll have the calamari, please. Like, instead of, I'll have the calamari. So it's kind of hard,
See, I blame Giada for that.
Yeah, okay.
Because she would just talk regular English and then be like, mozzarella, and it just kind of like got to people. Because my family does the same thing.
Yeah.
And then like, so when you do it, I was with my dad at a restaurant recently, and he said something, I forget what it was. And like the waitress, who was like 16 or 17, just like blankly stared at him like he just asked for, I don't even know, like just the weirdest thing ever. And I was like, I had to explain what it was in like the English terms.
Yeah, so even though like I say prosciutto is not much different than prosciutto, but when I ordered it at the deli counter the other day, I was making like a big charcuterie board, and the guy, it was a young guy, he had no idea, and I was like, the prosciutto, please. And it's just so funny how it gets lost in translation, but it all literally means the same thing.
You're really good at the words because charcuterie is one that gets past me like all the time. I'm like, cheese plate. It's a cheese, like I know what it's called, but I'm like, cheese plate.
I asked specifically for a charcuterie board for Christmas. So it's been in my vocabulary like every week since.
Gotcha. So let's go back to your nickname. You obviously came up with the nickname of the Virtuosa. How did that come about?
Yeah, when I was, just kind of starting in Ring of Honor, they were like, your name's great, but you need something else. And I went through all the basics, the technician, the mechanic. I tried the architect for a little bit, but, Seth Rollins was kind of using that. So they wanted me to stay away from that. And when I was looking at Italian translations of all of these words, virtuosa or virtuoso was one of them. And at the time, I was kind of like, it's hard to say. If you don't say it right, it kind of sounds weird. I don't know. But let's give it a try because I have nothing better. And it just kind of stuck since then. The fans, even without an explanation or without character development, kind of just understood what I was nodding at. And yeah, it just stuck with me since.
When you come up with something like that, do you have to like kind of, you write it down, you kind of look at it. Do you like picture it? Okay, well, how would that look on a shirt? How's that going to look on my gear? Like you kind of picture it that way?
Now 100%. Like I would do nothing if I didn't think it would look good and make a good t-shirt or make good stickers or make good merch. But back then I was just kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm still figuring myself out. And it was kind of like, if it failed and it didn't work, then at least that was one thing I tried and now I know. But it was just something that always stuck and everyone kind of seemed to get it. And then as I started to put it on stuff, I have a font that I use that Virtuosa always gets written in, whether it's on my gear or my jackets or on my t-shirts. And I've just tried to like stick with certain things that make it synonymous with one another.
So you're big into like the branding thing, it becomes important.
Absolutely. I think that has been like my biggest asset and maybe even what makes me stand apart from like other just good wrestlers. I mean, at the end of the day, a virtuosa is just an individual with like good technical ability. All I'm saying is I'm a good wrestler and I made it sound fancy. But the way I've been able to brand myself and then expand on that has made me stand out, I think, above all else.
So you're two-time Knockouts champion. How has the second reign been different from the first?
Yeah, I think the first day I was kind of just, again, going on the fly and not afraid to make mistakes and just seeing what being a champion felt like, because that was the first time I've ever been a champion. I've never won a championship up until this point on such a high level. So every day I was growing and I still am, but it was kind of like, how do I take it to that next level? And with every pre-tape, with every in-ring, with every match, it was to raise the bar and kind of get myself to believe in myself that I can really, really do this and sink my teeth into it. So, now that I'm in my second reign, it's kind of like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm really confident in everything that I do. And I think that shines through even more so this time around.
Holding and having and wearing a belt is kind of cool, right? Do you have it with you? Oh, I love it. You're the
so
first.
Cool.
You're the first person to be on an interview to actually bring the belt.
So my spare room that we're in is kind of like my office, and I do all my work here and my homework and stuff. And I have a replica made, so it usually sits right next to the replica, and then it gets packed when we leave for tapings. But I put it next to me just in case someone asked. I do have it.
I love it. Do you sometimes put it on with other outfits?
Oh, no.
You don't get dressed to go out for the night and be like, yeah, let me see what the belt looks like. Just
it's New Year's, I'm going to bring the belt. No. It kind of just sits in here, and when I need it, I need it.
I don't want to say that you're going to misplace it, but if you were ever going to bring the belts with you somewhere and accidentally lose it, where do you think you would lose it?
Oh gosh, I lose everything.
Okay, so perfect.
Right. And I've had those nightmares that it's like I'm at TV and it's hard to kill. And I'm like, I don't have the belt because I left it at home. Or because I have the replica made. It's like, oh man, I brought the replica, not the real one. So that's a legitimate fear of mine. And I'd probably lose it like at the grocery store. I would lose my brain if that was possible.
Does the belt get packed first?
Yes. So I don't need it. Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever been traveling and been like, oh my God, did I bring the belt?
No, because I swear that's the first thing I put in my bag, because I'm like cognizant of the human that I am and how forgetful I am. And this is like the most important accessory I could ever have. And, you know, to be able to bring it home meant a lot to me, and to be responsible for it. I can't tell you how much it meant to me for them to be like, okay, you can bring it home now. And I cannot leave it. And then them be like, oh, you're not fit to be a champion because I forgot my championship. You know what I mean? So it's the most important thing in the world to me.
Be honest. Do you sleep with it?
No, no. But it was cool to come home with it the night after Slammiversary.
Do you sometimes just stare at it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like, we're in my office room and it just sits on the dresser, and every time I come in here, I get to look at it.
You're talking to, like, I'm a belt geek from when I was like a little kid, and when I was a kid, so in the back of the like After mags, they would have the ads for the real belts, and I would like try to convince my parents. They were like $175 to like $225, and I was like 10 years old, and they're like, we're not buying a 10-year-old kid a $225 wrestling belt. So like I always kind of like wonder. So I used to like draw my own and make my own.
Right.
Did you ever do that as a kid? Just like make up your own wrestling stuff?
We were lucky enough that when I was a kid, they made the foam ones that were like sold at Walmart or Kmart or wherever. So my brother and I, we had one tag title belt, and then we had the World Heavyweight Championship belt, and they were foam ones, and we used to beat the crap out of each other with those, or like have little wrestling matches in our basement and like jump off the couch and drop an elbow on the box that we built, like and then fight for those foam championships.
I really just aged myself by saying that they didn't exist when I was a kid. I was like, we didn't have them. We made them out of wood, and like, I'm gonna try and pretend that I didn't age myself right there. Did your brother want to be a wrestler?
Not a professional wrestler. He played football. He wrestled on like the high school team. But he never was like, I'm gonna be a pro wrestler. He actually says that like I became so obsessed with it that I ruined it for him. So it was kind of like once I really got into it, he was like, you're too into this and I'm over it. But we're twins, so I feel like I just ruin everything for him anyway.
Why are siblings such jerks?
Honestly though, like being a twin, we shared everything, so it was kind of like I think I infiltrated his like one thing, and then he was kind of like, you're crazy about this, and I'm over it, which is how our whole childhood went, honestly.
Now, did you get into it to like kind of be closer to him, or were you really like hardcore into it?
I was like hardcore into it. Like I started watching wrestling like on accident, and there was like one night that I was like actually grounded and I wasn't allowed to be watching TV, but I came down and he was watching wrestling, and I was like, what is this? And like Stone Cold hit someone over the head with a chair, and I was like, who would do something like that to someone? Oh my God. And from that minute, I was just like, everything about this, I need to know what it is. So I didn't know until like I saw the women wrestle and stuff like that like I could become a wrestler. But once I saw the women do it, I was like, I can do that one day. If I could learn how to do that, I could be good at that.
And it's crazy because when you grew up, I mean, there were female wrestlers, but not to the extent of the women's division in each federation now that they have.
Yeah, it was, the bra and panties matches or the bikini contests and the pillow fights, and like, you can't take anything away from that, because that was a stepping stone to build what we're building today, right? But it just got me to the point of like, I want to change this perception, and I want to learn this sport and perfect my craft and be a real wrestler. I never wanted to be a diva. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. So once I grew up with that, I turned 18 and I went to wrestling school because I was like, I'm going to help change that perception.
So we go back to 20 years. You said they had the bra and panties, that kind of stuff. You look at women's wrestling now. Do you think maybe in 20 years we could have like federations that are just all women, or all women night of let's say Impact has, Women Thursday or whatever? Do you think that could kind of move that way? Because I'm thinking that even more younger girls are going to be into it because they see women like yourself wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I think as women, that's always our hope, is like, WWE had, Evolution, which was the first all women's pay-per-view. Impact has done, knockouts, knockdowns, which early in my career I got to be a part of. So they've had all women's pay-per-views forever, and to see that all these companies are taking these steps to really put women's wrestling at the forefront, like, just warms my heart, because that's all I wanted. And to know that women are growing up seeing, me be the Impact Knockouts champion, but then also be considered Wrestler of the Year, and to be able to see Jordynne Grace compete in X Division matches, and, to be in a company that really lets women be in every facet, in every division of their company, I hope inspires little girls to know that they can do what we're doing, and there'll be new levels to it that we can't even imagine today.
I love it. So I put together a little quick list of questions to ask you. I call it the 10 count. You're the first person that's going to do this with me.
Ooh, okay.
So a lot of them are Jersey based, because I want to, kind of get the Jersey thing going. But so
yeah.
The first question the first answer off the top of your head, you got to give it to me. You ready?
All right.
Number one, is it called pork roll or Taylor ham?
Taylor ham.
No. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, okay. All right. I won't hold that against you. Number two, best beach in New Jersey.
Best pizza?
Best beach.
Oh, best beach. Seaside Park.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Let's go back. Best pizza.
Oh, best pizza is Benny Tadino's in Hoboken.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that one. Okay. Number three, is it called the beach or the shore?
Oh, the shore.
Okay. Is it called, number four, is it called sauce or gravy?
Gravy.
Thank you. See, people aren't going to understand that. Like, so all of my friends who were not Italian, I would say, like, my mom's making pasta and gravy, and they would think brown gravy. And
yes.
No, like, that's not how we say it. And I feel like it's because our grandparents couldn't say sauce, or just didn't want to say sauce.
So I've heard that sauce is without meat, and then gravy is with meat. That was never a thing in my house. It was just always gravy. I'm making, pasta and gravy. I don't know, but I will call it gravy until the day I die, and I will fight with it until the day I die.
Yeah, that's interesting. You got back points. You lost it on the Taylor ham thing, but I'm going to give you points back with the that one. Okay, you ready? Here's a fun little F, marry, kill. Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok?
Oh, we could kill TikTok because I have no idea how to use it.
Okay.
And then Instagram or Twitter? Yeah. I think I would marry Instagram.
All right.
And then F Twitter.
Okay. That's fair. So back to the championship belts. Do you have like a favorite championship belt ever?
No, not really. I guess I would say like the original, WWE Women's Championship.
Just because it was the
because
first.
That's kind of the first one that I grew up kind of knowing and recognizing. Right. But I'm not like a crazy belt person like that.
If they let you design the next one, would you be into it?
I don't think I want that responsibility.
Really? You don't get to design the whole, and you get to be the one that designed it? Okay. All right.
I know. No.
Okay. Number 7. What are you binge watching right now?
Oh, New Girl.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm almost finished. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm only on season 2, end of 2.
Oh, okay. So I won't spoil it for you, but I'm just at the end of season 6.
Now that you just started from the beginning, this isn't your second time around or anything.
No. I had never seen it before.
Okay. And what made you choose that?
I just am running out of things to binge watch on Netflix, and I was just kind of like, this popped up as something I might like, so let's give it a try. And then I really, really like it, and Zooey Deschanel is hilarious. So,
was it a lot easier to binge watch stuff back when you used to travel more and you're on the road more? And
I feel like in the last year with quarantining and not being able to do very much, I've binge watched so much. Just because what else is there to do? I had never seen Breaking Bad, so we watched that. I had never then seen Better Call Saul, which is the next one. So we binge watched that, which is still running. So we still watch weekly. I watched The Kingdom on Netflix, which is like a UFC MMA kind of style show. What else have I watched? I rewatched The Ranch because I loved that. I rewatched
Queen's Gambit.
No, I haven't seen that.
That's another one that I heard's pretty good. They sold out of chessboards because so many people watched it.
Oh wow. Yeah, I feel like, and then, just like the last 2 years, I've really gotten into Netflix, and like Sons of Anarchy is my all-time favorite series. One Tree Hill, things like that. I watched wrestling as a kid, so I've missed all of these things,
That's the good thing. Are you the TV watcher, the iPad watcher, or the phone watcher?
Oh, I'm definitely a TV watcher now. But I have an iPad, and I used to, when I first started binge watching, it would be on my iPad.
Okay. Number 8, which exercise do you hate the most?
I really, really hate the Stairmaster, but I secretly really, really love it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I hate abs. Which is like, I get crap for not having abs all the time, but like, I hate to do abs. I do them, and I absolutely hate them.
Time out. Who gives you crap for not having abs?
I mean, yeah. Why I would get rid of Twitter if I could.
Oh, you mean random trolls on Twitter say this to you?
Oh, yes. And like, I don't care, but I just thought it was a funny answer to like be like, people are like, you're out of shape, and she hates to do abs. I see why. But I also really don't care what they say, because I do the goddamn abs. Okay.
Yeah. Like, because I remember that time Stone Cold won with his abs. Like, I don't understand. Right. Like, I don't. Okay. I won't get into the trolls on Twitter. Number 9, your dream opponent.
Ooh.
All time. I'm sorry. All time. Could be now. Could be then.
Trish Stratus.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you're okay. She'll probably go over. You're okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And number 10, I did not have, but I don't know why I didn't write number 10. So let's go with number 10. Let's talk about the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Any last trash talk you want to do?
I feel like Taya Valkyrie gets super loud on social media, and she likes to answer a lot of fans and throw little digs about how she's going to humiliate me. People like this is what I've been facing for my entire career. People that underestimate me and think, she's a good wrestler, but that's it. And I think that on, these big nights, like I did at Slammiversary, like I did at, Bound for Glory and at Turning Point, Hard to Kill is just another big event that I get to stake my claim as wrestler of the year, match of the year contender. I shine under the highest pressure, and I continue to have something to prove against these people that want to humiliate me. It's not going to happen, but I am looking forward to her trying, so I can happily break her arm. Okay.
And then one last question: how many times do you like to work Wrestler of the Year into a casual conversation?
Oh, all the time. It's just like people come over, and I'm just like talking, but I'm Wrestler of the Year, so.
I love it. Well, good luck. Good luck, and I hope you win, and I hope you remember your belt.
Thank you so much. I will definitely remember the championship.
And that brings another episode of Not About Wrestling to a close. Guests of the Not About Wrestling show stay in their own damn houses. If you like the show, please share it on social or leave a review on iTunes. And remember to subscribe to Not About Wrestling on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/BroBible and find the Not About Wrestling section. Thanks again for listening or watching, and see you all next week. Well, I won't see you at all. You know what I mean.